Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. I'm your host, DylanLasagna. Welcome to the place for all those filthy casual takes on the world of sports. And in this episode number 168 of this icy yet spicy sports podcast, we're here to talk about a WWE pay-per-view, the World Wrestling Entertainment pay-per-view that took place this past Saturday, or as the hip kids like to say it, premium live event. Those PLEs, pal. So anyway, there was a pay-per-view that took place this past Saturday, November 4th, 2023, in the country of Saudi Arabia, the city of Riyadh, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you may have watched it in the afternoon, or in the case of where I am, in the morning at 10 a.m. And that event was none other than Crown Jewel, the 2023 edition of WWE Crown Jewel. Interesting fact about this pay-per-view is that they've done 10 of these, 10 overall Saudi Arabia events over there. And it's been 5 years since they started this relationship with that country. 2018. Time goes by really fast, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I swear. It's like, really? 2018? It's been that fast? Like, man. But anyway, we're going to talk about a pay-per-view that happened, and that was Crown Jewel in this episode, and give you all my thoughts about what happened, my opinions on all these matches. There are about 8 of them, I believe. And yeah, after this, we're like literally on the verge of another pay-per-view that's come up, and we'll talk about that as well. So before we get started in this review of Crown Jewel, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping because, I haven't done a podcast style anything with Very Cold Lasagna in about a month or so. So for all my audio listeners out there, I know we have a lot of catching up to do. So that being said, let's get into some housekeeping. So make sure you follow the show. Follow Very Cold Lasagna on social media, on X. Yes, it's not Twitter anymore, unfortunately. And Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna. And if you're listening to audio, especially for my audio-only listeners out there, make sure you rate and review the show. Give it a 1 to 5 star review. Anything helps for that matter. And make sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like the video, leave a comment, smash the subscribe button, share this with your friends, share this with a stranger, share this with just about anybody so that they could spread the word about this icy yet spicy podcast that is called Very Cold Lasagna. But make sure that they don't eat that physical Very Cold Lasagna. Sometimes it gets moldy, okay? All right, cool. And then, in regards to all the NFL content that's out there exclusively on the YouTube channel, make sure you check that out too. Even if you're not a football guy, I give some of my crazy, filthy casual takes on like the games that are coming up this on the coming week, or in my recap of them as well. I give some very unusual, odd takes on all the teams in the NFL. And then, I wish I would do it in a podcast style format too, but there's just so little time in my life right now. It's just like, can't do it. I can't do it. So speaking of life, it's a kind of a good time for me to watch this pay-per-view, especially, and mainly during this time of the year when I'm more so focused on the NFL, that the bye week, or as the non-sports fans call it, a vacation from something. Yeah, my team, the San Francisco 49ers, are on a bye week or a vacation from whatever they're doing. A vacation from action. So no football game for them this week. And it was a good time for a WWE pay-per-view to happen. Not that I had any expectations for this pay-per-view, but still, nonetheless, a good time to catch a WWE pay-per-view because, well, it just happened to be around the corner. So now, let's get into this actual pay-per-view, shall we? Crown Jewel 2023, taking place at the Mohammed Abdul Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Like I said, this is the 10th overall event that WWE is doing in the country of Saudi Arabia in their 10-year, it's their, 10-year partnership in that they put together since 2018. But like I said, it's kind of crazy that they started this thing back in 2018 and it's already been 5 years. Like, wow. Time does fly by really fast, ladies and gentlemen. The other interesting note that that happened to show up during this event is that the ring announcer, the usual ring announcer happens to be, either Greg Hamilton or Mike Rome, the regular dude TV announcers. So neither of them were there. I mean, Greg Hamilton's gone, but Mike Rome was noticeably absent. So instead, the ring announcing duties were handled by some of you may know him. Some of you may notice him, make fun of him, whatnot. But the ring announcing duties were actually handled by Byron Saxton. Byron Saxton was recently a commentator for Raw and SmackDown, but now he handles the backstage duties, interviewing duties. But Byron Saxton was doing the ring announcing for this show because, Mike Rome, who does the SmackDown ring announcing, he's on vacation currently. And then Samantha Irvin, who does Monday Night Raw, she was assigned to do the house show circuit that's going on back here in the United States. So Byron Saxton, everyone was really impressed by how he did, considering that he actually has had experience doing ring announcing for like NXT house shows, NXT TV, regular main roster house shows. I mean, I guess they didn't see him in a prime time presence, like on a pay-per-view. I mean, I was impressed, certainly. But yeah, he's certainly brought that experience with him to a big stage. So good, very good job by him. I was impressed, just like everybody else. So now let's get into the actual match card itself. So we had about, I say, 7 to 8 matches, I said, during this show. And we kicked things off with what feels like forever, a pre-show match. Like, when was the last time you had a pre-show match on a pay-per-view? Like, I can't recall I think it was like 2021 when we last had a pre-show match. Extreme Rules 2021 with Liv Morgan and Carmella. Damn, feels like a long ass time ago since we had a pre-show match. So literally 2 years ago, we had a pre-show match. So this pre-show match involved Sami Zayn taking on JD McDonough, or as we like to call him here, JD McDonuts, or my new name for him is JD McDonald's. Yeah, that's what we're calling him now. JD McDonald's. Get me some McNuggets, JD McDonald's. So this story is basically centered around Sami Zayn and his never-ending feud with the Judgment Day, or as I like to call them, the Judgment Lane, because I have a resenting hatred for how this group is booked and how this group is presented. They are charisma vacuums. I mean, not necessarily Rhea. I don't. Maybe Rhea Ripley is one sometimes, but the Judgment Lane, the rest of them, and I guess maybe not so much Dominic Mysterio, maybe, but the Judgment Lane, they are channel changers. They are garbage. They are trying so hard to make them like the Bloodline, except they suck. They are so lame. They make me cringe hella hard. Like, what is their story? Like, they don't have one, okay? But yet they're in this never-ending loop. They're in Groundhog Day loop with Sami Zayn since the end of WrestleMania. Since post-WrestleMania, they've been feuding with Sami Zayn and his friends. And it's been going even when Kevin Owens got traded to SmackDown for Jey Uso, who got traded to Raw, thanks to Cody. But here we are, Sami Zayn, even if he's alone, he's going to continue fighting the group until they disbanded. And that included their butt buddy, JD McDonut, who unfortunately still trying to get into the group. JD McDonut, who I think he was introduced back in the summer, and yet here we are months later, he is still trying to audition for the group. When are they going to do it eventually? It's like, are they trying to... They're literally trying to rip off the Bloodline. Like, Sami Zayn, he had that whole honorary Oos thing that started last year at WrestleMania and then dragged all the way to, I think it was like Survivor Series, when then he became an official member of the Bloodline. And then now they're doing it again with the Judgment Day with JD McDonut. And then they're just buying time until JD McDonut becomes an official member of the Judgment. Like, really? That's what we're doing here? Oh my God, they really are retreading the whole Bloodline stuff. Like, come on, big nose, triple big nose. Can you come up with anything original? So for the match itself, I mean, I didn't have any expectations for it. I mean, it's their typical Monday Night Raw match that you've seen from Sami Zayn in the Judgment Day. But, I mean, Sami Zayn did get a big pop like he did back in Night of Champions. You know, it is more of the same. So Sami Zayn won with the Haluva Kick, Blue Thunder Bomb combo that sent JD back to McDonald's. So it is what it is. That was pretty much a pre-show match. So now we get into the main card, which opened up with the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins defending his title against Drew McIntyre. Your story of this match had Seth retaining his title at Fastlane against Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match, which I heavily disagreed with, mainly because, you had Seth in a bad situation with his bad back. They're still playing off that story with the bad back, by the way. And yet you didn't have Damian Priest come out and cash in that damn Money in the Bank briefcase with Seth in a very prone position. And Seth didn't even sell the back injury and the celebration. I'm like, what are we doing here? Well, anyway, that's besides the case. So Drew McIntyre came out on the next Monday Night Raw and challenged him for the World Heavyweight title, but he wants him at 100%. So that was pretty much your basis of this match. But they did do a nice video package trying to sell Drew that, you know, he needs this match. He needs the validation of being the World Heavyweight Champion because, you know, he's still seeking that true moment of being a world champion because, you know, interestingly enough, for those of you that still don't know, his first WWE title win back at WrestleMania 36 came at the time during the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, when he beat Brock Lesnar, that was in the Performance Center, unfortunately. And then ever since then, his last two major title matches, the one against Bobby Lashley the following year, he fell short. And then the next year at Clash of the Castle in his home country against Roman Reigns, he fell short because of Solo Sikoa. Ouch. Just ouch, man. And that, you know, going into that match, you know, man, I really want Drew to win now. I really want Drew McIntyre to get that belt. Like, I really want Triple H to do it, to pull the trigger on it. So for this match, you know, Drew McIntyre pretty much dominated more than half of this match. He pretty much hit just every move on Seth. He was throwing him around in the ring with the belly-to-belly suplexes, hitting him with the Claymore, but Rollins would just keep kicking out every single time, just like a stubborn man. Rollins would have some occasional offense here and there, but they were still playing on the bad back that carried over from his Shinsuke feud. Like, Drew McIntyre drove Seth's back on the steel steps, and then he did a sidewalk slam on the ring apron, and then Seth was like, he's playing the Peter Parker once again. He's like, my back. Oh, my back. So basically, he's doing that. So more than halfway through this match, Rollins countered a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre into a curb stomp. McIntyre kicks out. McIntyre avoided the Phoenix Splash. Then he hit a Claymore, but then Seth Rollins kicks out. Honestly, that should have ended the match right there. It's like, you hit a Claymore kick out of nowhere after Rollins does that kind of move. Yeah, you should have won that match there. So Drew McIntyre is clearly frustrated. He's just like, man, I just dominated a good part of this match. Like, how is Seth Rollins still alive? Noseman booking? I don't know. So Drew McIntyre's pissed. So he goes for the kill. He doesn't do the countdown like usual, like 3, 2, 1, like he did earlier. He tried to go for the kill. Seth countered into a super kick, but that didn't deter McIntyre for trying to go for the Claymore again. But he got a little too eager on the second attempt. Rollins used a pedigree curb stomp counter combo and retained the title. So this was honestly a very solid opening match. But honestly, I feel like Drew McIntyre should have won. I feel like Drew McIntyre should have won this match, considering how much he dominated so much of that match, focused on Seth's bad back. And if he really wanted to pull a heel turn on Drew McIntyre, then him bulldozing through Seth with that back injury would have made Drew a threatening champion. Or at least, you know, try to do something after where, you know, Drew's all pissed and then he finally snaps. He finally snaps on Seth. And then, considering what happened next, man, Drew would have been a threatening heel to take that title later on. Because what happened next, well, it was just all sorts of weird. because Steph's night wasn't over quite yet, because Damian Priest came out, the Judgment Day's music hit, and he was ready to cash in once more. But unfortunately, Damian Priest didn't get a chance to cash in because Sami Zayn stole Damian Priest's Money in the Bank briefcase. So, yeah, another tease towards Survivor Series, which is now going to be official for War Games. So, there you go. That's official now. But at some point, though, they're going to have to finally pull the trigger on Damian Priest's cash-in. It's like, they had multiple opportunities here to do this cash-in for Damian Priest. It's like, when are you going to do it? Like, when are you going to have Damian Priest cash in this thing? I felt like the best opportunity to at least make Damian Priest the champion, even if it's a transitional one, until, like, let's say the Royal Rumble, was Fastlane. That was the best opportunity to have Damian Priest be the world champion for at least a little bit of time. You know, even if we had to suffer through 2 more months of the Judgment Lane being all, oh, the Judgment Day runs Raw with all dripped in gold. You know, at least it would have made sense. At least it would have made sense for Damian Priest to cash in at the most opportune time where Seth was just brutally beaten by Shinsuke Nakamura with that bad back. I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't know why they didn't do it there. Because now, you're still wondering, when is Damian Priest going to cash in? When is he going to cash in that briefcase? Because I don't know where I see an opportunity to do it. War Games? War Games if Steph's in that match too? Or, I don't know. It's like you're running out of chances to do this thing. So they got to stop beating the horse around it. And they better not do a damn Big E where they just cash it in on a random Monday night, whether it's successful or not, just to try to pull some ratings away from Monday Night Football. So then you had the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley, defend her title in a fatal 5-way match. And, man, this match is like, oh, God. Anyway, Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley defending her title against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez is cool, though. So basically, this match was set up because Rhea and Raquel, who had been feuding since, Liv Morgan got hurt, Rhea and Raquel, they've been feuding since the summer. Rhea beat Raquel in their first match at Payback, and they were having a rematch during the Bills and Jets game on Monday night in the season opener. And during that match, Nia Jax made her return and cost Raquel the match. But she also attacked Rhea afterwards. And then, when Nia Jax took both of them out, she also took out Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark out of commission as well. So when all 4 of them made their returns, they went after Nia, and they also went after each other. So Rhea Ripley got all pissy. She went to Adam Pearce, and she was like, "You better do something about this, Adam." And then Adam did something. She booked Rhea Ripley for a fatal 5-way title match at Crown Jewel against all of them. So basically, most of the Raw Women's division. So, I mean, this match was nothing special. It was whatever. Rhea got a special entrance with a bunch of Saudi men lining up with cups. I don't know if it was voodoo. Apparently, it's like some kind of tradition. But, I mean, you guys can fill me in on that in the comments, but I don't know. Anyway, she got a special entrance. I did notice, like, before that, Raquel Rodriguez tried to do the back flexing, show off her big back, but, you're covered up with the red suit. I was like, oh, Raquel, it's not gonna work over there. I mean, I like you're kind of cool, but your big back gimmick's not gonna work over there. So anyway, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett were talking about how women's wrestling was booming with the success that was happening in the last 2 months, and it's like, yeah, are we sure about that? But no, cool for them, I guess. But this match, it was nothing special. What was gonna happen, but it did have some nice moments here and there. Like, I did like the spot where Shayna Baszler had Rhea Ripley, Raquel, and Nia all locked in a submission hold by Shayna herself, all at once. Like she had Rhea and Raquel in a ankle lock at the same time, and she put Nia in the Cure Feudal Clutch. That was pretty cool. I'll give her that. But then they also did the typical, let's get in the corner, do the Tower of Doom spot, the superplex, the Tower of Terror, whatever it's called, in the corner. That's exactly what they did. But then Raquel did a crazy ass spot where she lifted big ass Nia for a big ass Dehana bomb, her finisher. But in the end, Rhea overcame all the odds, the 20% odds, pal, for as she lifted up Zoe Stark for a super Riptide, her finisher. And this is when Raquel Rodriguez was going for the pin. She was going for the win. And Rhea hit the super Riptide on Zoe and the impact landed on Raquel. So I don't know why Raquel was going for the pin there when she knew that Rhea was going to hit that damn thing. But nonetheless, Rhea retains her title against basically most of the Raw Women's division now. And yeah, it was This match was I mean, aside from those moments, it's like it was slow. It was plodding. Messy at times, but I mean, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't all that bad. Because, I don't know, a lot of times they just did not click with one another. I mean, Zoe and Shayna had their moments, but I don't know. It was asking a lot. It was really asking a lot from all 5 women. And, it's a problem. It's a problem when you have three heavyweights that they're not necessarily limited, but it's just like the people just don't really care all that much. And 2 brawlers that are athletic, but that aren't exactly attaining either, and people don't care about them either. So, yeah, Rhea retains her not her Raw Women's title, her Women's World Championship against, well, most of the entire Raw Women's division. So, yeah, what do you do with her now? What do you do with Rhea Ripley now? She's basically like in her entire reign. Like, can you even call it a reign now? Because like she hasn't really done a whole lot in that reign. Her reign has basically become a Roman Reigns reign now. Because in this whole Rhea Ripley reign as the Women's World Champion that started back at WrestleMania, she's basically defended against Natalya, Zelina Vega, and then that was like the start of her reign. And then you had a long gap where she would like defend the title. It would take like months for her to defend the title against Raquel, and then Raquel again, and then get to this point with the Fatal 5-Way. It's like, that's bad. That is really bad. So that title is basically a prop. That title is basically a prop. She is basically becoming female Roman. She's basically becoming female Roman. It's not, I don't know, that's necessarily her fault. Some of it is, but it's mainly on the booking. It's mainly on the booking. And, the rest of the Women's division sucks. I mean, Xia Li, not a contender. Candice LeRae, not a contender. Indy Hartwell, nobody cares about. Natalya, I mean, she's put over one too many people, but she's still And now you got this whole match with Raquel, Nia, Shayna, Zoe. Rhea beat them all. And none of that, well, I mean, other than Nia, maybe Nia, she can have a case for one more match because she wasn't necessarily involved in the finish. But everyone else, they don't have a compelling case for a rematch in the immediate future. So other than, Nia Jax can have a compelling argument that's like, oh, I wasn't involved in the finish, and I know a lot of people will hate Nia Jax in a one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley. The internet would go on fire. They would cancel their Peacock subscription. But I expect at least that match to happen in the immediate future, probably at Survivor Series. But the real question turns to, what does Rhea do next with that title? Probably after that probable Nia Jax match. Because, like I said, she's basically beating all the competition in one entire match. And the other half of that Raw Women's division, they're not getting an inch towards that title. Like, ever. I'm sorry, ever. At the same time, though, like, once you get closer to post-Survivor Series, Triple H has to make a decision. And that decision is going to dictate Rhea's title run for the next 6 months. Rhea's direction, more importantly, towards WrestleMania. Because what that direction he takes is going to be one that will, regardless, cause people to get pissed about. So you got to choose wisely, man. You got to choose wisely, Triple H. You better make the right decision. Do you start the big major feud everyone wants at WrestleMania between Rhea Ripley and the orange-haired man? Or do you hope that the second option in Miss Watch Me is fully healthy and ready to go for a potential Royal Rumble feud after Survivor Series? Or do you really hope to hold that off until WrestleMania when the time is right? I don't know, just saying. I'm just saying. You have to think about it, Triple H. You will have to think about it, because either way, like I said, that direction that he takes presents risks. Whatever direction, whether it's the Man or Miss Watch Me, whatever direction he takes with Rhea Ripley is going to have risk. And regardless of what it is, it's going to leave one half portion unhappy and the other half, whatever. It's going to be a portion of fans unhappy. So Triple H has to choose very wisely. He has to really think about this long and hard. I imagine they jumpstart that feud for Rhea after Survivor Series. That real major feud in this title run that has gone past its expiry date, in my opinion. So next up, we had John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. Cena, he returned back in September just before Payback, but he's been involved in some Bloodline business. And that Bloodline business included Solo Sikoa. And things came to a head where he teamed up with LA Knight to beat Jimmy Uso and Solo back at Fastlane. And weeks later, Cena got into a bit of a scuffle with Solo when Cena was like, I haven't won a match in over 2,000 days, which I think equates to like 5 years. So pretty long time, big match, John. So they fought. Cena fended him off, and they announced the match between the two at Crown Jewel. But 2 weeks prior, Solo took away Cena's voice, which Paul Heyman described as the reason for why Cena still was doing WWE with the Samoan Spike. So that was your basis for this match. And this match was, it was very solid, but kind of slow at times, but at least, they tried. Cena and Solo did something with it. Cena was going for that hand that Solo uses for the Samoan Spike, and it actually affected Solo. We'll get there when we get there, though. But then from there, after Cena got the early offense in, it was pretty much the Solo Sikoa show. He dominated a lot of this match, and he pretty much kept trying to go for that Samoan Spike, but Cena kept countering each time and having some very brief offense before Solo, retook control. So you also had this one point where Cena, in desperation, hit a rock bottom to counter another one of Solo's Samoan Spike attempts, but Solo kicked out midway through the match. Cena tried to go for one of his shoulder blocks or a clothesline out of nowhere, but then where it seemed like Cena was going to try for that rally, someone spiked him out of nowhere on the run, and that led to this dominating, just merciless finish. That's all. Solo gives Cena the Samoan Spike several times. He was just like spiking and spiking and spiking, like he's just trying to massacre my boy. And then he gave him one last spike, and he won. Like, damn. He just brutalized John Cena. Like, we haven't seen something like that since Cena got beaten by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2014. So Solo, he needs to show his value in this match against John Cena. And he definitely did that. He dominated and brutalized any ounce of offense that John Cena had. And, credit to Cena. He put him over as such. And, unlike that match with Austin Theory back in Mania, made Solo look pretty dominant in this win. But now it's up to Triple H to capitalize and expand on Solo even more if he wants to propel him up to the top. So Roman, you better watch your back, man. You better watch your back, because Solo just got a big major win that hopefully they capitalize on, because if he's going to be the one to unseat the tribal chief, and if it's not Cody, then Roman better watch his back. Now, as for Cena, he got a standing ovation, and he was slowly walking to the back. And this probably means that his current run with WWE is over, which is unfortunate. I was enjoying it, but we don't know if he's gonna be coming back for WrestleMania season. I hope he does, because I still want to see one more match at WrestleMania with Cena, because you don't know if he's ever gonna come back with this Hollywood obligations, the strike and all that, when that potentially is gonna end. So we don't know. We have to appreciate John Cena's time while he's still here in WWE. So if he is able to come back for WrestleMania, we need to have that match. We need to have that match, not a match with an up-and-comer, and not a match with Cody Rhodes. No, that match. That match where hashtag this time it counts. John Cena versus the guy that is always in his head with his damn voices, Randy Orton. Where will it work for me, brother? Especially in the place where there is no love lost, Philadelphia. One last time where it really counts. Make it happen. Make it happen, Triple H. Make the biggest match possible between these two happen. So then we get a Miz TV segment with some Saudi Arabian comedian named Ibrahim Al-Hajij. I can't pronounce that name, so I'm sorry. So he came out, and before the Miz could get a question in, a Grayson Waller takeover went into effect. So Grayson Waller came out, and Waller, he pulled in some insults on him, and he attacked him after a back and forth. But the Miz and Hajjaj retaliated with a little double team action, and then pretty much Hajjaj came out and capped it off with a people's elbow. So that was pretty much that. So then after that, we had the United States champion Rey Mysterio defending his title against Logan Paul. There wasn't really much of a build towards this match, because Logan Paul was just fresh off a boxing match with some guy named Dylan Danis just a week prior, before Logan Paul came to SmackDown. So Logan Paul called out Rey Mysterio after that boxing match, whom he challenged for the United States Championship on that next week's SmackDown. So Rey Mysterio accepted the challenge, and then there wasn't really much of a build after that. They had a weigh-in, but then that was pretty much it. So Paul mentioned that he already defeated Rey Mysterio back at Logan Paul's first ever WrestleMania match, which was last year at WrestleMania 38, in that tag team match, which also involved The Miz, Logan's tag team partner, against Rey's, I guess, what do you call it? Estranged son. There you go. Estranged son, Dominic. So there you go. Paul giving us a little history lesson there. So this match, at times it was sloppy, especially in the middle portion, but then it really picked back up. I say sloppy because, early on it was fine. Logan dominated a good portion of that match, and then Rey, had his comeback. And it was pretty much, an even fight to who can get the advantage. But then when you get to that middle part, Logan was, kind of sloppy at times. He almost botched the buckshot lariat, landing on his knees, landing on his legs with the impact from flipping, front flipping from to the ring. His knees buckled, and I was kind of worried. Dude, hope your knees didn't give out. So he almost botched the buckshot lariat because his knees buckled, and then there was a spot where Rey Mysterio didn't like finish the backflip. So he pretty much botched a springboard moonsault, and he almost landed on his head too. So Logan Paul had to like catch him, and then he had to adjust his original counter into a power slam. So it was kind of a little messy in the middle, but they managed to put it together. They bounced back for I thought it was a fun finish. So Rey Mysterio, hits a sunset bomb on Logan Paul for a near fall, but then you have Logan Paul crawling to the corner to get some brass knuckles. I think it's the same guy that he got help from Logan Paul to beat Ricochet at SummerSlam. So Logan Paul is about to use the brass knuckles, but it gets knocked out by Rey Mysterio, and the impulsive guy, the crew member, tries to get it back, but then you have Santos Escobar showing up out of nowhere. He stops him from doing it, but then before he chases away the impulsive crew member, he places the brass knucks back on the ring apron. Now, some people were saying, like, is Santos stupid or something? But then when I think about it, is that I think Santos Escobar had some purpose. He had some purpose in putting back the brass knucks right there on the ring apron. So let's talk about the finish first, because when Ray hit the 619 on Logan Paul, but then before he can hit, I think he was trying to go for the West Coast Pop, which we haven't seen in quite some time. Before he could hit the West Coast Pop, Logan took out Rey Mysterio with the brass knuckles that he retook and hit him midair and knocked him out, and he won the U.S. title. There you go. Logan Paul is your social media mega U.S. champion. People are pissed, but hey, at least gets WWE them views. So yeah, I mean, this match was, I thought this match picked up at the back half of it. I mean, yeah, messy at times, but I thought they bounced back at the end. So I thought it was a good match. Not a great match, not a very good one, but they really bounced back at the end. Especially considering its ending, because it set up two things for the future. You're gonna eventually set up towards Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar, but you also have to consider what's going to happen with the rest of the LWO, especially considering that Carlito's still there. He just came back a month ago, so how do you factor him in? So Santos, it seemed like he tried to help Rey retain, but he actually, like I said, he left the brass knucks on the ring apron. I don't know if that was intentional for Logan to use, or maybe just stupid or something, but I think it's the former. He left those brass knucks for Logan Paul to use, which is going to be the catalyst for Santos to turn heel. Rey Mysterio is going to question the hell out of Santos Escobar to do that, on why he did that. So, second thing is, for Logan Paul, he finally gets his first WWE title. It's not the WWE Championship, like the actual one that Roman has, but he gets the United States Championship as a consolation. Ironically, a little over a year after he had his first championship match against Roman Reigns. So, there you go. A little history for you there. So, the problem is now, I know people are complaining about this already, is that we have another potential part-time champion in WWE. Logan Paul is a busy guy with this YouTube channel, his energy drink business, his boxing career. But the thing with Logan Paul is that, we can rag on him all we want as a person and all that. But for Logan Paul, every time he's in the WWE, he brings his A game. This match, probably his worst, not the best of the bunch, but he brings in the views. He brings in his brand. He brings in like the social media numbers that WWE has. So I can't really complain for Logan Paul as the WWE guy, as the WWE wrestler. So I virtually have no complaints. I just hope, that Logan Paul does show up more, because if he doesn't, then we have a problem here. We definitely do have a problem here, because if Logan Paul is a part-time champion, more or less a less than part-time champion, then basically you have no champions on SmackDown, because you have Roman Reigns, and now that you have Logan Paul as U.S. champion, and they're both part-time, that's a serious problem. then you're really going to have to rely on your roster to fill up airtime. And your roster is not constructed to be good as it is. But at least for Logan Paul, hopefully this leads to a setup for, he defends the title, retains hopefully against those challengers, probably Kevin Owens, Ricochet, somebody else, maybe Carlito, and then a rematch with Rey Mysterio. I imagine a rematch with Rey Mysterio at Survivor Series is going to happen before another match with Ricochet. But the more important rematch that's going to be set up eventually is a major WrestleMania match in April with a certain megastar that will have everybody saying, yeah. But more on that in a bit. So now let's get into our next matchup of this Crown Jewel event. And that was the WWE Women's Champion Io Sky taking on Bianca Belair in the rematch from their Backlash match back in May. This rivalry restarted because Bianca Belair, she won the women's title back at SummerSlam. But immediately after that match, Io Sky cashed in her Money in the Bank contract that she had at the time and defeated Bianca to win the title. So 2 weeks later, Io Sky and Bayley, the group that is Damage Control, they took Belair off TV by injuring, I say injuring in air quotes because it wasn't a real injury. They injured Belair's knee in a backstage attack. They wrote her off TV for like 2 months. And then here we are in October a couple weeks ago. Bianca returned after Io Sky's title match with Charlotte. And then Bianca talked with the new general manager, Nick Aldis, and got a title match. She basically went up to Nick Aldis and says, hey, give me a title match, bitch. That's not what she said. But yeah, she basically asked Nick Aldis for a title match, and Nick Aldis gave it to her. So yeah, that's your basic setup. But this match was so boring. And I can't blame the crowd for not being heavily invested in it. It's like, why are we still blaming the crowd for boring ass matches? It's like, if you're going to present this boring ass match, why give the crowd a reason to care for it? You can't force them to be invested to this. You got to give them a reason to care. And Io and Bianca didn't do the job. They just simply did not do the job. Because this match, be it Bianca and Io's overselling or the big return that was supposed to happen, they just simply did not care. So as for this match, Io tried to go after Bianca's previously injured knee. She did, but then Bianca pretty much no-sold it later on in the match because she was pretty much dominating Io. And then much later on in the match, you had Bayley show up, even though it seemed like Bayley was not going to be a part of Crown Jewel at all because of the attack, the post-match attack on SmackDown the night prior. It was taped because Bianca took out Bayley with a KOD through the announce table. So that was rendered useless, I guess. So Io was in control of the match after that. And then Io accidentally took out Bayley. She hit her, but then Io was just giving her a blank stare. Maybe it was intentional. I don't know. And then she got back in the ring to try to get a count out win. And then Bianca tried to get back in the ring, but Bayley held her by the feet to distract her. And then Bianca was about to give her another KOD through the announce table, just like on SmackDown the night prior. But from behind, a mysterious figure in red and black came from the crowd and attacked Bianca and slammed her through the ring post face first. And it was revealed to be the Pirate Princess, the hardcore wrestling fans' fantasy dream, Kairi Sane. She's so insane. Kairi Sane is back, ladies and gentlemen, and I hate to say it, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but not a single fuck was given. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm professing this. I mean, I kind of dug the tag team she was in with Asuka, but man, that return was a big ass wet fart in this match. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. It was a big ass wet fart. What more do you want me to say about Kairi Sane's return? maybe it'll be received better when she makes her real return on SmackDown, when she addresses all this crap. But anyways, Bianca beats the 10 count, but Io immediately hits her finishing moonsault once she gets back in the ring, and there's her finish. She retains the women's title. So yeah, I mean, the main thing to take away from this match was not the boring match itself, but the story they told at the end, even with the lack of a crowd reaction. I mean, I can't really blame the crowd on this one. It's just a matter of, you told this you had Kyrie return at the worst possible time. I mean, it was the right time, but the wrong place. So I guess that's just a situation of that. But anyway, so Kairi Sane, she's back. The crowd, they didn't really care for it, but the real story is that I guess Io went into business for herself. So as soon as she saw Kairi Sane in the ring, she went in for a hug with Kairi. And Michael Cole mentioned that he was very quick to mention some of the history between Bayley and Kairi, because I guess I'll say it. Kairi Sane, she was the one that got taken out by Bayley. She was the one that Bayley ran off, that kicked her out of WWE back during the pandemic in July of 2020, when Asuka was defending the Raw Women's title. I don't know who. Maybe it was against Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. But anyway, Asuka lost the Raw Women's title against Sasha Banks because Bayley was attacking Kairi Sane backstage, and then Asuka went to go back and help her. But yeah, so Kairi Sane is back, and it'll be kind of interesting. I mean, I'm personally not mainly interested, but at least they're trying to tell something. At least they're trying to do something with that women's division on SmackDown, because they got something going over there, I guess. But he's going to have, Triple H is going to make sure Kairi Sane is going to be the splinter in the eventual and overdue breakup of Damage Control. Because, or Damage Control, oh man, that Splatoon group, it's been long overdue for a breakup. So I imagine they're probably going to have Kairi Sane play nice with Bayley, at least for this War Games matchup that I anticipate it's going to be on the SmackDown side for the women. But after that, that's where things pick up. The only question is like, where does Dakota Kai fit in all this? She's injured. She's not medically cleared yet, but it's like, eventually when she is cleared, I don't know when she is, but where does she fit in all this? You guys tell me. So then we have Cody Rhodes taking on Damian Priest, a match I felt should have been on Raw. I don't know why it's here, but I guess you had to have Cody Rhodes on a big pay-per-view because the Saudi Arabia crowd's got to go sing his song. I mean, it's not a bad song, but I just don't know why you have to have Cody Rhodes on this pay-per-view. So anyway, Damian Priest challenged Cody to a match at Crown Jewel. Cody accepted it, but the Judgment Day attacked and injured, air quotes, his ankle, pretty much like Brock Lesnar, injuring, in air quotes, Cody's arm during their feud. So yeah, that was basically the basis of this match. So I don't know. I don't really know what to say, because this match is basically what everything that you've seen during the Judgment Day's matches, whether it's with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and now Cody Rhodes. It's basically the same formula, except now you're seeing it on a pay-per-view. It's like, what more do you need me to say? It's like the two going back and forth. Cody re-aggravating his ankle injury on a jump counter. Damian taking full control. And then when Cody's trying to go for the kill, Finn Balor and JD McDonald's coming out to distract Cody. And Damian hits his finisher to South of Heaven, but then Cody kicks out. And then Finn Balor is calling for Dirty Dan, but he's actually Pinhead. Dirty Dominic Mysterio comes out, who has a steel chair, but then also came out was Main Event Jey Uso for a cameo, who used the power of the super kick to take out the entirety of the Judgment Day and chase them away. So Cody would finish off Damian Priest with the signature offense and then hit the trifecta of Crossroads to win the match. So, I mean, the story's not necessarily over. I mean, not Cody's story, but the feud between the Judgment Lame and the Super Friends, because they're on one last collision course towards Survivor Series. So, there's that. So, now we have our main event. The main event that I was kind of looking forward to, but at the same time, like, I already knew what was going to happen, like, regardless. But nonetheless, it was the undisputed WWE champion, Roman Reigns, taking on LA Knight. Yeah! So, Roman Reigns came back from his annual post-SummerSlam vacation. Yeah, he was literally off for 2 months, leaving SmackDown in the dust. Unbelievable. But then, when he came back after Fastlane, he was met by the fastest rising star on SmackDown. And that was none other than LA Knight. Yeah. So, Knight, during Roman Reigns' time away from WWE, from SmackDown, he's been growing in popularity. His popularity has been continuing to grow. And he's been in 2 major tests since Roman was away. He's been in a match with The Miz, with John Cena as the special guest referee. He passed that test. And then he was in a tag team match with John Cena against Jimmy and Solo. He also passed that test. So he's been getting endorsed by John Cena. And his endorsement by Cena was further solidified when Cena endorsed LA Knight as Roman Reigns' next challenger. So that set up this big match, even though I was expecting this match to take place at the Royal Rumble, not here at Crown Jewel. I was expecting more so AJ Styles to face Roman here at Crown Jewel. Like, what? It was a little weird why they did this match instead, but nonetheless. So with this match here, this was a big major test. LA Knight's biggest test yet. The dude just turned 41. Like, I don't know if it's this week or last week, but this dude was facing his biggest test yet. Like, the biggest one in the 3 months that he's been on the rise, dude. So, I like LA Knight. He presents a lot of charisma, personality. The dude can really go on the mic. I mean, I know people call him knockoff Rock, cosplay Stone Cold Steve Austin, and recycling catchphrases and all that. But the dude can talk on the mic, dude. The dude oozes charisma, personality, like a lot of things that a lot of wrestlers, whether it's male or female, are severely lacking on whether it's the main roster or in NXT. All of wrestling nowadays. LA Knight, he has pretty much like charisma and personality. And the only thing that kind of concerns me is his wrestling, his in-ring work, because some things do scare me about that. So I treated this match for LA Knight like it was I don't know, it's kind of a stretch to say WrestleMania main event level match, because they were treating Crown Jewel like a WrestleMania. Because, yes, he could talk the talk. But now the question was whether he could walk the walk against one of the best champions that WWE has had in a long time, if not all time, in Roman Reigns. So LA Knight got a massive ovation from the Saudi Arabia crowd. They had signs for LA Knight. They had a whole yeah section. Roman Reigns got his usual grand entrance. I have noticed that it's not as long as it used to be when he was 2-belt Roman. So I guess that's an improvement for some of you that keep bitching about our tribal chief. How dare you? But anyway, for the match, LA Knight started off hot. His offense was like rapid. He went after the tribal chief, but then Roman slowed things down. He cut off his offense right away, and he went things at his own pace. And it was basically Roman having him in a chokehold for a good amount of time. Roman shit talking to the camera, but then LA Knight eventually countered a corner move to rally back and get the crowd back into his game, LA Knight's game, baby. And the crowd was chanting CM Punk at one point. It's like, damn, the crowd was like really something during the show. I mean, I'm not one to blame the crowd. for certain things. But I mean, yeah, I can't really blame the crowd for like, not being as excited because that energy died like midway through the show. Not to their blame, of course. But anyway, that's besides the point. So things really picked up when Roman countered the LA Knight elbow into a Superman punch for a near fall. And then LA Knight hit that Pat McAfee superplex where he jumps up onto the top rope. I was so glad that he did not botch that and slip off, because every time he tries to do that, like I fear for him. I really fear for him. He should only be doing that on special occasions, mind you. So he hits that for a near fall. So out brings Solo Sikoa, and officials are trying to bring him backstage. And then here comes from the crowd, Jimmy Uso, to help out Roman for the usual Bloodline shenanigans. Surprised there's no ref bump. So Roman hit the spear for a near fall. LA Knight actually kicks out. Roman's like, what the fuck? This dude kicked out of the spear? So Roman's frustrated as all hell. He went to the well. He locks in the guillotine on LA Knight, but he actually fought out of it. LA Knight fights out of it. He hits the blunt force trauma, the BFT. But just as LA Knight was going to win that damn thing, and honestly, it looked like he won the damn thing because the referee counted the 3. And then Jimmy Uso was a tad late. He was I'm not sure if I was blind looking at that, but it looked like Jimmy Uso put Roman's foot on the rope a half second too late when the ref put his hand on the ground for the 3 count. So I thought it was a tad second too late. LA Knight should have won that WWE title there. Controversy much? Shouldn't LA Knight be the undisputed champion right now? Huh? Yeah. But nonetheless, Jimmy Uso, he put Roman's foot on the bottom rope. The ref stopped what looked like a 3 count. I thought it was a 3 count. But anyway, LA Knight, he beat around both Jimmy and Roman at ringside. Jimmy got put through a table by LA Knight, but in turn, he got speared through the barricade by Roman, who finished the job on LA Knight with another spear back in the ring to retain the undisputed WWE title as the 1,000 plus day reign goes on, to the chagrin of a lot of people. I mean, I get it. I get why people are really complaining about Roman's reign continuing, because I kind of see it too. I mean, it is starting to become one of my criticisms about Roman's title run is that his matches are becoming really repetitive. It's pretty much the same old finish, and I really wished that they would change up the formula, because it's pretty much, Roman gets his offense in, and he gets his opponents the rally, and then when their opponents are about to finish off Roman Reigns, either there's a ref bump, or there's interference, or there's both, and then Roman wins. Lol. So that's basically what we got here, and I can't really blame for people complaining and criticizing what we got here, because nobody knew. Like, it's very repetitive. It's very, very repetitive. At the same time, though, it's just like we knew LA Knight wasn't gonna win this match. We knew LA Knight had a 0.0000, however many zeros you want to count, 1% chance to win this match. It would have been nice for WWE to pull a shocker and actually have LA Knight win the damn thing, but I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon for LA Knight to win the WWE Championship. He's only been having this rise since, I think, WrestleMania, post WrestleMania season. So it would have been too soon. He has to at least have a mid-card title, which I think the stage sets up well after this. But let me talk about this first, because my intention of this match, how I perceived this match for LA Knight, was not about him at least trying to win the WWE Championship, but how was he going to do in his first real title match, his first World Championship match? Because we see him, like I said, we see him talk the talk. He can talk. He can cut all these good promos. He can hype you all up. But, when it comes to the ring work, could he walk the walk? Could he back that shit up in the biggest match of his career? And the work that he did in NWA, TNA, whatever work he did before then, this was the big leagues. This was WWE. This was his biggest match out there. And against Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia's WrestleMania, I think LA Knight really held his own. LA Knight did well for himself. He and Roman looked like they had really good chemistry. Like, I don't know if it was surprising to some people, but I thought they did it really well. Both of them did really well. They told a good story until the ending, of course, with all the Bloodline shenanigans. But Roman made LA Knight look like $1 million. And LA Knight had a lot of his offense hit very cleanly. It looked very crisp. There were times where I worried about LA Knight's some of his moves, though. But nonetheless, LA Knight, even defeat, I thought he looked good. He looked strong coming out of this loss to Roman. The finish, for as much as we criticize it, I think it protects him. I think it does not make him weak. I wouldn't say at all, but it's on WWE to recoup some of that momentum that LA Knight may have lost in this match versus Roman. So I really hope that WWE continues to keep LA Knight in some serious major programs. Like, they're probably going to have him in that men's War Games match coming up. But after that, it's I'm not sure what you do with him until WrestleMania, because where I see LA Knight at WrestleMania is that mega social media match with the new United States champion, Logan Paul. And if it's not Logan Paul, maybe he's the one to dethrone Gunther for the Intercontinental title. I don't know. But I think the money match is him versus Logan Paul for that U.S. title. Be a nice crowning moment for LA Knight and a good reward for him, even if he didn't beat Roman. So as for Roman, some people will hate me for this. I still like him. I still like him as the tribal chief, but it's clear that Triple H doesn't really know what to do with him at this point. Triple H is pretty much running Groundhog Day with Roman. Roman can still cut all these good promos. He still is the top money guy in WWE as the champion. But it's just the problem is, it's just they're running out of material for him. And they're starting to retread a lot of crap with him. So, in turn, it's becoming repetitive. It's losing its luster. They could have... I don't know if the time was right for him to drop the title to Cody, but, each and every passing day, it's starting to look like that. And, my opinion, it's starting to look like the luster's going bye-bye when they didn't have him drop it to Jey Uso at SummerSlam. Again, even if it was just for a 1 to 2 month period, just let him drop the title and then regain it. It's now we're just basically waiting in this holding pattern until we get to Cody back in Philadelphia. But even then, is it a guarantee that Triple Big Nose is going to actually pull the trigger and let Cody finish his story? Or, as they kept mentioning, are they going to have Roman surpass Hulk Hogan's however long record that doesn't break until September next year? It's they have to wake up and realize this, is that for as much as Roman sells, brings in ratings, yeah, that's good and all that, but at the same time, you're starting to fatigue a lot of people with how much Roman appears less. I don't know if that's on Roman or WWE doing that, but you're really making people start turning on him, and that's not good. You have to do something by April, and if you don't take the title off him by April, it pains me to say this, but you're really gonna make the whole world turn against him. Not everyone has turned against him, but you're gonna really make everyone turn against him if you don't take that title off of him by April, just for the sake of statistics. Like, are you really going to have him go for Bruno Sammartino's record next? The 2,800 day plus record next? In like, what, the 8-year record? Come on, let's be realistic here. Just finish the story and move on. Let Roman Reigns do some other work that doesn't involve the title. Like, he can still bring in that aura. Like, come on here. So anyway, that was Crown Jewel. I mean, overall, I thought it was a okay show. I thought that there was a lot of like matches that could have been on Raw. But it is what it is. I thought there were a few select standout matches that, you know, kind of piqued my interest and I thought came away liking. You know, Cena versus Solo Sikoa. The ending that saw Solo just eviscerate John Cena off the planet Earth was kind of cool. Made Solo look like a badass, and maybe the eventual dethroner of the tribal chief status, not necessarily the Universal title. The U.S. title match, you know, it picked up at the end. Kind of messy in some spots, but I still liked it. And then the main event for LA Knight. He proved his worth. He definitely proved his worth in a big primetime spot. I just didn't like the predictability of the ending. It was not good. It was not good. But yeah, 3 out of 8 it doesn't make a good show for me, in my opinion. Like, a good show is that, you know, consistency across the board, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there could be some bad, there could be a little bit of bad, but the bad can be outweighed by the good. And there was not a lot of good on the show, to be honest with you. I mean, some of you will like it, and that's all right. But personally, for me, you know, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect more. Let's be honest with you. I had no expectations going in. That's my standards as a wrestling fan nowadays, is that you don't really expect much. You don't really expect much. So we have Survivor Series around the corner. Thanksgiving weekend. I know for me, for Very Cold Lasagna, that's going to be a very busy as fuck Thanksgiving weekend. I am going to be suffering during that time, especially with content. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up, but I'm going to try my damnedest. But for the show, not for the show, but for WWE, there's at least some noteworthy stuff coming out of Crown Jewel. We're going to turn towards Survivor Series in Chicago, which is in 3 weeks, which it may even be more noteworthy because, like, you know, going into that show, you have War Games matches to set up. I think they're pretty much basically locked in by this point, unless they change things up. For the men's, you have like Judgment Day and the Super Friends. That's finally going to come to a head. In my opinion, the War Games matches for the men, it's pretty much going to be, you know, you have the Judgment Day and the Bloodline, unless they completely took away the Bloodline element. But if they didn't, I imagine it's going to be Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominic, or JD McDonagh. Not maybe JD McDonagh. Jimmy Uso and Solo Dakota. And then you have on the Super Friends side, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and then Seth Rollins. But if they keep it Raw only, then you have Judgment Day, like the 3 Judgment Day members, JD McDonagh, and then Drew McIntyre, and then Sami, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami, Cody, Jay, Seth. I don't know who the 5th one's going to be. Maybe Ricochet, I guess. It's kind of lame, but it is what it is. And then for the women, I mean, it's pretty much obvious where they're going on the women's side. It's going to be on SmackDown. I imagine it's going to be SmackDown exclusively. If they try to make it messy by cross-branding it, I don't think it'll make a lot of sense because they already have a set story in stone on SmackDown, so might as well just run it with that. So on the SmackDown side, it's basically Damage Control versus everybody on that roster. So for Team Damage Control, it's going to be Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane. There's going to be a key element in how Kairi Sane stays on that team. Kairi Sane, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn, the UK tag team, going up against Charlotte, Bianca, Asuka, Shotzi, and either, I guess Mia Yim would make the most sense because she has the most experience in that match, that type of the War Games match. So you have yeah, you pretty much have your War Games matches set up there, ladies and gentlemen. So there, I booked your show for you, Triple H. And then some other things to keep in mind of for the next couple of weeks as we head towards Survivor Series. What's next for Rhea Ripley and her lackluster women's title reign now that she basically has no challengers left? So you better make a good decision on that direction, Triple H. Do you take, like I said, do you take the man route? Or do you take the watch me route going to Royal Rumble season? And then they have to figure out how to follow up LA Knight's very good performance, coming off that loss. So they have to make some good plans for him. And then, the most important question of all, does a certain Chicago-made man, does a certain wrist-taped man show up in Chicago in 3 weeks' time at Survivor Series? The speculation, the questions are going to certainly heat up even more as we head towards Survivor Series. Now that he's gone all out, is he going to go back home to where he made his name? We will see. And does also a certain Viper show up? Does everyone let the voices in their head get even? I don't know. I can't come up with a good one. I'm tired. But those two men show up at Survivor Series in 3 weeks' time. That's something to figure out as well. But anyway, yeah, that was your Crown Jewel review for 2023. And yeah, if you watched this show, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on YouTube, a message on social media at DylanLasagna on X or Instagram. I love to start a conversation with you on any of the matches or any of the things that happened on this past pay-per-view. Yeah, we're on the road to Survivor Series, and that week is going to be hell for Cold Lasagna. You have a Niner game to recap and preview because the Niners are playing on Thanksgiving too. And then you have a whole week a whole slate of games to recap and preview. It's gonna be hell. It's gonna be hell. Just trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Like, oh fuck me. But we'll try to get through it. We'll try to get through it the best I can. We got this. We believe. I guess. Help me. But anyway, that's a little bit of a preview for what's to come during Thanksgiving hell on Cold Lasagna. That's why I like to call it Thanksgiving hell on Cold Lasagna. But stay tuned. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. But for right now, that is the end of this episode of Cold Lasagna, episode number 168 of this Icy Yet Spicy Sports podcast. And until next time, thanks for tuning in and keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge. Your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, peace out.